We've all spent years dreaming of escaping high school, but in a zombie apocalypse, it might be the perfect 5-star shelter. You've got rooftop access, a fleet of buses for supply runs or battering rams, and enough canned food and bottled water to ride out the chaos. The problem is, that false sense of safety just might be your doom. That and the popular kids immediately declaring themselves the new government. That could be an issue too. Anyway, let's stop fantasizing about how it might go and actually break it down. Before we get into the thick of it, let's set the stage. For this scenario, we're dealing with classic zombies. Your good old-fashioned slow shambling walker that relies on sheer numbers and persistence rather than speed and brute force. As for how you ended up here, you didn't plan for this and nobody saw it coming. You just so happened to be here when it all started. And now the school's in chaos, the streets outside are going nuts, and survival depends entirely on what's available to you inside of the school. Also, keep in mind every school is different. Some are massive with multiple floors and dedicated security systems. Others are smaller and outdated and barely held together with duct tape and teenage angst. So if your local school has a tunnel system or solar panels on the roof, great. But this isn't your school, it's a general breakdown. I can't account for every situation in one short video. Now with that out of the way, let's jump into the pros and cons of hunkering down in a high school during a zombie outbreak. Most high schools are built like bunkers. Brick walls, steel doors, and fences made to keep teenagers in, which ironically makes them pretty good at keeping zombies out. Some have full lockdown systems. If the power's still on, it might be a good idea to use it. If not, start barricading things off before the principal comes shuffling through the front door. Flat rooftops give you vision. You can scout the area, watch for movement, or leave an SOS signal for helicopters that probably aren't coming. But rooftops also give you options. You could try to collect rainwater, you could even try to set up a small rooftop farm with planters, buckets, and whatever soil you could manage to carry up a flight of stairs. It won't feed a group, but it might buy you enough time when the canned goods run out, assuming it all had enough time to grow. In a high school, you have plenty of options for weapons. In the gym, you've got bats, javelins, and shot puts. In shop class, you have crowbars, hammers, maybe even a welder. The science lab, chemicals that can burn or blind if you know what you're doing. And yes, I know you can't blind zombies. It's meant for humans, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. The cafeteria is more than likely loaded with supplies. We're talking freezers full of meat, pizzas, and questionable hot dogs. Just make sure the kitchen's clear before digging through the freezer. There's nothing like grabbing a popsicle next to a half-eaten corpse. There should also be storages full of bottled water, canned goods, rice, peanut butter, condiments, and pasta. Not pasta. Last time I said pasta and people got pissed off about it. With that in mind though, how do you guys pronounce Mario? Do you say Mario or Mario? How about Shaco from League of Legends? Do you call him Shaco or Shaco? This is for all my nerds out there. Anyways, tomato, tomato. I'm gonna pronounce it however the hell I want to. I'm not calling it pasta. You can kiss my ass. You also have access to vending machines packed with snacks and soda, aka pop, aka fizzy drink, depending on where you're from. Maybe even some off-brand mystery drinks too if you're feeling brave. And if the power is still on, the water fountains might still work, for now at least. City water relies on electric pumps, but most systems also use gravity-fed towers to maintain pressure. That means you'll still get running water for a little while after the power cuts out, but only until the tower runs dry. Then it's game over. Some people think they're bulletproof because they're on well water. Even that depends on electricity. If your school somehow has a manual pump, great, but let's be real, it probably doesn't. Haven't seen a manual pump since I was in the Philippines. That means you'll need a backup plan. You're going to want to set up rain catchers on the roof. You can use tarps, buckets, or anything clean enough to collect water. And always boil it before drinking. Contaminated water can also take you out. The nurse's office in a high school usually has the basics like painkillers, antiseptics, gauze, and wraps. Most high schools also keep first aid kits, CPR masks, AED units, ice packs, and feminine hygiene products on hand if you happen to be of the female species. It's not a hospital, but it's enough to treat injuries and keep your group alive while you figure out your next move. School buses are slow, loud, and guzzle fuel, but they're massive and can move people or gear. Perfect for supply runs, barricades, or ramming through trouble. If you have welding skills, you can probably make a super cool apocalypse vehicle to help you rip around town. A school bus could be the difference between life and death, especially if you have to jump ship and leave the school for good. Schools are built to move large crowds. That means long halls with plenty of choke points. Lock down the right areas and you have control of the flow. This only works if everyone follows a plan. If some idiot opens the wrong door, he could end up funneling the zombies towards you instead of away. The library might actually save your life. In here you could find books on first aid, gardening, water purification, plumbing, engineering, and whatever helps keep this place running. If you manage to clear out the zombies and secure it, you're going to want to rebuild, so you better start reading up. You've got a ton of usable space here if you know how to use it. Classrooms are your best bet for organized sleeping quarters. Use them to split up families, individuals, or task groups. Keep the noise down though. Make sure you black out the windows and rotate guard shifts to keep hallways secure. The gym could be your central sleeping hub. Great for large groups or injured survivors. It's open, it's visible, and it could double as a basic care area if things go bad. But packing a bunch of people into a giant open room, that's kinda risky. One infected person in the group, or one breach at night, and it turns into a slaughterhouse. You've got nowhere to hide, nowhere to run, and a whole crowd of half-asleep survivors scrambling for safety. It's efficient, but also one of the most vulnerable spaces in the building if something goes wrong. The auditorium, perfect for morale. You can use it to organize discussion or give people a place to vent. I know it sounds lame and you could laugh now, but mental health is the difference between teamwork or a knife fight over peanut butter. And I'm sure some people already know this, but governments use schools as emergency shelters during natural disasters. During hurricanes, wildfires, floods, you name it. They've been turned into emergency care areas, evacuation centers, or even temporary housing. Some are even used as alternative care sites during COVID. They handled hospital overflow or vaccine drives. But in a zombie outbreak with mass panic, that kind of coordination isn't happening right away, maybe not at all. Hospitals collapse, communication breaks down, and most people are dead within days. So don't count on this turning into a government-run safe zone anytime soon. Alright, let's get to the cons now because this place is sounding way too good to be true. There's always a catch. If the outbreak hit during school hours, then the halls are going to be full of corpses. And some of them will be getting up pretty quick to come and take a bite out of you if you don't start moving. If you walk into the wrong hallway and find a bunch of zombies, the school starts to feel more like a trap than it does a potential base. Schools have too many ways in. Main doors, side doors, emergency exits, and glass everywhere. Just about any school in any country ever is lined full of windows. One zombie sees you moving inside, starts banging, and within minutes, there's a whole crowd pressing against the window. Most schools use a mix of tempered glass and laminated safety glass, which is stronger than your average house window, but still not unbreakable. Bottom line, enough weight, enough pressure, and something's going through that window sooner or later. Sound travels far in hallways. Yell at someone or slam a locker and it echoes down the corridor and possibly out the windows. If zombies are nearby, they're going to hear it, and they will come looking. Sound draws them in. One loud mistake can cost you big time. Although high schools are likely to have a large storage full of dry goods, you can't live off of that or vending machine snacks forever. And without power, cafeteria food spoils fast. Sooner or later, you'll need to grow food or scavenge. If the school doesn't have a fenced-in yard to keep the dead out, your best shot is the roof. If your school doesn't have rooftop access, then things get harder long-term. No power means no heat in the winter, no AC in the summer, no lights, and no running water. Security systems can also fail. Morale crashes. Unless you've got a generator or solar panels, everything falls apart. This isn't a school-specific problem, but it's a problem nonetheless. This place will start to smell. Rotting food, rotting bodies, bad hygiene. People will break under stress. Someone will crack. Someone will hide a bite. Someone will try to take over. Without structure and strong leadership, it could all fall apart. Schools are packed with flammable crap. Papers, wires, chemicals, candles. One bad decision, the whole place lights up. Smoke, panic, heat, and nowhere to go. Tile floors, no working showers once the water stops running. You're living like cattle in classrooms. If you're lucky though, the nurse's office might have a bed or two. That being said, sleep will get worse, people will get angry, and you will start to make mistakes. And in a zombie outbreak, mistakes can get you killed. And now we get to the part nobody wants to talk about. High school politics. That social hierarchy doesn't just vanish in a crisis. The jocks, probably the first to form a security team or a new government. They're strong, fast, and confident, maybe even too confident. If they're led by their football coach, it might not be so bad. If not, you might have a bunch of meatheads hoarding protein bars in a locker room. As for nerds, suddenly the most valuable people in the building. They're more than likely the ones who'll rewire generators and maybe whip up some improvised tech. But brains don't buy respect, so there's always going to be tension. And then there's the biggest question: who is really in charge? The teachers who used to run things, or the high school senior with charisma and a baseball bat? The power struggle might be even more dangerous than the zombies themselves. A high school can work. It's big, tough, and full of supplies. But if you don't lock it down, stay sharp, and lead well, it becomes your coffin. Short-term survival rating. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. If you can survive the initial chaos with a group and secure the building, a high school is one of the best possible locations to be trapped in during the first month of the apocalypse. Its primary strengths are immediate security and wealth of initial supplies. Long-term survival rating, 1 month and beyond. Rating, 3 out of 5. High schools offer strong short-term shelter, but long-term survival becomes harder without resupply. Food and water might stretch past a month if rationed, but power loss, mental stress in the urban location suddenly chips away at your safety. Every trip outside risks dragging the dead back with you. Eventually, it's not about staying, it's about when to leave. Alright guys, if you made it to the very end, I appreciate you very much, and if you haven't seen this video, go and check it out, or maybe check out this playlist right here, full of stuff you'll probably enjoy.